you're finally going to get over the hump. And Dak Prescott,
Texas Tech. return to civilian life, they deserve your recognition and support. You can help put vets to work by donating your car, truck, or van to Patriotic Hearts. Your donation will directly support programs to help vets find jobs.
104.5 and 680, the sports leader. Dub Nation. Time for the real and inside story on Warriors basketball.
Curry sidestep, Curry drive, Curry flip, Curry good!
This is Dub's OT with John Dickinson on KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at twitch.tv/the sports leader.
That's good to see. 120 to 114. Ty Lue and Steve Kerr, good friends and great coaches. And so on 11:30-23, the Dubs come up with a win. There's no must-wins this early in the season, but after that Sacramento game, this one felt awfully good.
Yeah, there's no must-wins early in the season, but I think tonight was pretty close. And I think the Warriors have played a couple of games here over the course of the last week that were pretty close. We welcome you into Dubs OT with John Dickinson here on KNBR. 808-KNBR is the phone number to participate in the program. That's 808-KNBR. You can give me a call or shoot me a text as the Warriors do get the victory over the Clippers, 120 to 114 inside Chase Center. And it was a night where the Warriors were playing shorthanded, and they needed a lot of people to contribute, and those people stepped up and stepped in and did contribute in a big way. And you add it all up, and the Warriors find themselves now 9-10 and 4-6 on the home floor. So the Warriors are playing a little bit better of late on the home floor as they try to get things right here in the early part of the season. Hell, almost to the quarter pole of the season. New show, stoked to be here. Going to be here after every single Warriors game, and going to be talking about this one and breaking it down with you. I'm John Dickinson. Have covered the Warriors in the Bay Area for quite some time now. Hard to believe, but going all the way back to 2011. 2012. First Warrior game I covered, it was Steph Curry and Monte Ellis, and Klay Thompson was a rookie. And so I've covered this team all the way up until now, and excited to be with you, Dub Nation, and just this Warrior fan base that is so excited, so fired up, so passionate about everything Golden State Warriors. And it's just a pleasure to be here on KNBR and a pleasure to be here on the Dubs OT show here on KNBR. So, yeah, if you want to participate, we want to keep this show as interactive as possible. That's going to be it's instant reaction, it's opinion, it's analysis. It's hearing from the fans. It's going inside the locker room and inside the post-game press conferences. And we're going to be here for you. We're going to be here for you all season long as the Warriors try and find their way back to the top of the NBA mountain and be championship contenders once again. So, yeah, we're going to keep this thing rolling as long as the people want to keep it rolling here on KNBR. 808-KNBR, the phone number. Again, just absolutely stoked to be here. New show, new opportunity, and just new Warriors coverage here on the Sports Leader. So that's going to be a lot of fun just to kind of set that up. Want to let everybody know just a little bit about my background and where I'm coming from, and just the knowledge and passion that I hope to bring to the airwaves here on KNBR about the Golden State Warriors. So let's get into this one. And again, 808-KNBR, shoot me a text, give me a call. All good. We'll keep this thing rolling here deep into the night as the Warriors get the 6-point win over the Clippers. Some early thoughts on this one, just kind of running through the game. Mentioned it right off the top. This was the kind of game where the Warriors, without Andrew Wiggins and without Chris Paul and without Gary Payton II, no discussion about finding minutes for Moses Moody or Jonathan Kuminga or Brandon Podziemski. No Steve Kerr having to say in the post-game press conference, well, I wish we would have played Moses Moody. Should have played Moses Moody more. Don't have to worry about that when Andrew Wiggins is out. Don't have to worry about that when GP2's out. Don't have to worry about that when Chris Paul's out. But the onus is then those players that are going to step in have to step in and play well if you're going to beat a team that just beat the team that the Warriors couldn't beat a couple of nights ago in Sacramento. The Clippers had that same game last night, second of a back-to-back for the Kings. Tonight, second of a back-to-back for the Clippers, so the Warriors get a little bit of the rest advantage with the Clips having to go down the freeway to head into San Francisco to play this game. But without 3 rotation players for the Warriors, it was going to be on Moses Moody, who got the start. It was going to be on Jonathan Kuminga, who played, I think, probably his best game of the season in this one tonight, scoring 17 points in 23 minutes and doing it efficiently, doing it making 3-point shots, doing it just playing within the context of what the Warriors like to do offensively. And so you look up and the Warriors got off to a hot start, 31-24, end of the first quarter. Mentioned Moses Moody, who got the start for Andrew Wiggins. How about Draymond Green? First quarter 3-point savant Draymond Green, just knocking down multiple threes in the first quarter repeatedly throughout the course of this season. Nice offensive balance from Draymond Green in this one with the 13 points. But it was a solid start, plenty of minutes for everyone, and the Warriors up 31-24 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, Warriors even pushed it up and pushed it out all the way to an 18-point lead in quarter number 2, and everything was looking like gravy for Golden State. Is this going to be a night where they actually blow a team out shorthanded on the second of a back-to-back? No. That's just not who this team is. No, we're going to do that. You start and of course, everybody probably thinking back to just a couple of nights ago in Sacramento when the Warriors had the big lead and it looked like, this team's finding themselves. They're going to get on cruise control. Things are going to be great. And no, I think the one thing that we've seen with this Warriors team throughout the course of this season is nothing's going to be easy. It's just not going to be easy, even when it looks like it's going to be easy. And they let it go with a couple of bad shots and some turnovers, and it's that quintessential end of the first half little mini run. And Sacramento had one the other night that cut a 24-point lead down to 17. Well, the Clippers had one of those in this one tonight that cut an 18-point lead right down to 11. It was that quick 7-0 spurt to get to 61-50. And then the Warriors are going in at the half only up 11, and you're thinking, could that be something that ultimately does them in? Because I was thinking about that the other night in Sacramento. I was thinking, damn, like you had the Kings down, you had the maybe believing that you're in their head, you're big brothering them, and then you give them a little bit of life, and you know if you've watched Sacramento play a lot that they're always going to make their run, and they're always going to come back, and it's always going to end up close. And so I thought that little bit of a margin that the Warriors kind of wasted at the end of the second quarter, it hurt them a lot in the third quarter when the Kings got on them and were a +8, and then ultimately it didn't matter. The Warriors still should have won that game and still kicked it away in the final minute after they had lost the lead and then regained it. But you kind of had that thought of, is this going to happen again tonight? Or is that end of the second quarter going to lead to some bad things coming up in quarter number 3? But the Warriors come out in quarter number 3, and the Clippers really put it on them again. I mean, it was cut down to a 4-point game. But I think the theme of the night for the Warriors was they had every answer when they needed it. And it wasn't just Steph Curry that necessarily had every answer. It was a lot of the young guys, and it was a lot of the bench guys that were forced into some bigger roles that had the answer. So all in all, I think a real big win, because the Warriors are at a point where every single one of these games is huge. And that's just kind of my take and my stance on where this team is right now. I don't want to hear about how great it's going to be and how when they're fully healthy and they're locked in and they get it together, they're going to get on this run. Like that, it's not even that I don't believe it, because I do believe it. But you can't do that from a position of being 5-6 games under 500 and then have it really matter. Like, you need to be at 500 or a couple games over 500. Then you go on your 7-8 game winning streak. All of a sudden, you got action. All of a sudden, you're a top 4 team in the Western Conference, and you're a team that it seems like can maybe make a run and get back toward what the ultimate goal for this squad is going to be, and that is championship level contender. But you can't do that if you're just lingering around sub 500 for a good majority of the year, or a game or two over for the entirety of a season. And that's basically what this team did last year, even though the Warriors would tell you that they believe that this team is significantly better, when healthy, significantly better than the team that they had a year ago. And that was my other concern coming into this one, was the fact that, all right, it's go time. I asked Steve Kerr in Sacramento Tuesday, 3 days off. Draymond's back. I know Clay's been a little upset. Reports about Wiggins and not being in shape and taking some time to get into the swing. And he says, yeah, I would agree with that. Everybody's back. We're about at the quarter pole. Like, it's not early anymore. We all talk about it. It's about to be December here in 2 hours. Talk about the NBA season like it's early. Well, it's early, but it's also basically 25% over as well. And so there comes a point where you can only say it's early for so long. And I think Steve Kerr was getting a little tired of talking about how early it was. But then you go out, get that 24-point lead, blow it. Every win's important right now. That's kind of the overarching theme for me as far as this Warriors team goes. So 120-114, the final. It's John Dickinson here on KNBR. 808 KNBR is the phone number to participate in the program, either via the phone or via text. Appreciate everybody streaming the show here as we get this thing tipped off. Really looking forward to spending every night and sometimes afternoon. Warriors playing an afternoon game on Saturday with you here on The Sports Leader, breaking down Dubs basketball. Again, John Dickinson with you here. It's Dubs OT with JD. New program, getting things rolling. Got my guy Greg Silver here helping out. I really appreciate him, just to kind of let everybody know a little bit behind the scenes. Copes? Is that Copes? Do I see Copes? Is Copes back in the control room right now? What's going on, brother? Good to see you. No, just good to see you. And I just bring you in here, just say, hey man, I know as if you haven't talked enough today already, but just want to bring you in here and just say, hey, man, thanks for the opportunity, and I'm just stoked. I know you're as big a Warrior fan as there is. Greg, I've just heard nothing but great things about him, and I just, thrilled to be a part of this team and thrilled to get things rolling here and thrilled to talk Warriors basketball. Yeah, all right, well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you get Copeland right now. You tell them it may not make the air, but you're going to get your opportunity to say what you want here. Dubs OT with JD here on 95 or on KNBR on KNBR. Whoop, the sports leader as the Warriors get the win 120-114. All right, fourth quarter. Clippers cut it down to 7, but he mentioned the fact that it was the answers for the Warriors all night. They got the answers, and it was Pajemski, and it was Klay Thompson. This is now 4 or 5 games for Klay Thompson where he's had 20 or more points. And Klay Thompson, for the nights that he isn't good and for the nights that he draws so much of the attention, and Tuesday night in Sacramento was one of those nights where he drew a lot of the attention. It really, to see him just continue to push through, because I feel like with him and Andrew Wiggins right now, they are really trying to grind through a really difficult time until they can, a dark tunnel until they can come out and find the light at the end of it and get into a rhythm and get back to being closer to the players that they've been throughout the course of their career. Because Andrew Wiggins, to this point this season, it hasn't just been Wiggins hasn't been, the player that he was, going back to 2 years ago that everybody talks about. It's been Wiggins hasn't been the player that he's been even at any other point in his career in the early part of this season. And so that, I think, is a huge thing. It's leveling up in a couple of different ways as far as, getting back to where things were. All right, 808 KNBR is the number, 808 KNBR. Let's get things rolling here tonight following a Warriors victory with Mike in Millbrae. Mike is up first here. It's Dubs OT with JD on the Sports Leader. Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Mark. But talking about tonight's win, I just like the balance I saw from the team. It's always good when you can get to Draymond getting his offense going. That's a big added plus, especially without Wiggins on the floor. I like the way they came out the Clippers, who coming off an impressive win in Sacramento last night. And so I like that the Warriors really came out of attack. And Klay really needs to get his confidence going. And hopefully a night like tonight really gets him going. Moody, I like what I'm seeing out of him. He's really steadily getting his confidence really going. And I like he's getting those rotational minutes, especially with them being undermanned right now, and GP2 out as well. Moody's going to be that guy. And when you get Kuminga, I know he's up and down, but when Kuminga's clicking, you saw again tonight what he can do. In Saric, he can always come off the bench and give you good production. So all in all, a very good win. I know the Clippers are struggling, but still they really played well last night, and they steadily getting it together. And most importantly, the Warriors didn't turn the ball over. I think they had, less than 10 turnovers tonight. So they really took care of the ball, and just everything was flowing tonight. And that's what they're really going to do, because I don't think the Warriors are really talented enough really to make a run like they did last year. And so they really got to get a win streak going. I want to get your opinion on, do you think this team can really get themselves on somewhat of a win streak here to get themselves in the top, 6 per se? Because I don't know if they're going to be good enough to get a top 4 seed in home court in the first round. From what you've seen of this team, and things can change. I know, barring they make a move at the trade deadline, but I don't see that, barring that happening. What are your expectations? Because right now I think they're a bottom of the playoff standing team.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Mike. I'm going to jump in there. 808 KNBR, the number. Some good thoughts on Mike. Look, I think this team is capable of being a top 4 seed, but they need everything to go right, and they need to win games when they play well. Bottom line. And tonight was a game where they played well. They played well shorthanded. They get credit for that, but there have been too many games where they've played well this year and not won. And Tuesday night was one of them. Oklahoma City at home was another one of them. The Minnesota game when all hell broke loose at Chase Center, that was one. They've won some close games, but lately they've lost some close games. They got to win when they play well, because there's going to be too many other things that are going on different nights where either guys are out or, they don't play well. Maybe the big guns don't play well, and then you're not going to win because of that. So when you play well, this team's got to maximize it, and they've got to win. All right, we'll pause here. We'll come back. 808 KNBR. It's 808 KNBR. Warriors 120. Clippers 114. It's Dubs OT with John Dickinson here on the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR, and this is Dubs OT with John Dickinson. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Play driving this time. Tice is there, puts it in, draws the foul.
Hang time, and he's flexing on him afterwards.
He's already got 7 in the quarter and a free throw coming.
And Klay Thompson's got his fingerprints all over this game.
Corey Joseph for 3. And the long rebound to Klay. Klay Thompson back to the rim again.
The right place, right time. Make him call timeout.
10 in the fourth quarter for Klay.
All right, Fitz and Kalena there, NBC Sports Bay Area. Klay Thompson, part of his 10 straight points in the fourth quarter. Warriors needed that in a big-time way as it pushed the Golden State lead all the way up to 99-86 at that point. Dubs go on to win 120-114. It's Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson here on KNBR, the sports leader. 808-KNBR is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text. As tonight looked a little bit more like Warriors basketball. Tuesday night did until right before halftime, and then the Kings ran them down and beat them the other night in Sacramento. But I think this is a hell of a win. I'm not usually in the business of rating Warrior wins, especially given all of the things that we've seen here in the Bay Area over the last decade, especially Warrior wins in November, bordering on the beginning of December. But I think given the fact that this team has had so many problems closing games, the ability to finish this one off, knowing that you weren't going to have Andrew Wiggins or Chris Paul or Gary Payton II, I don't care that the Clippers basically have been a bad team away from home and can't get it together since they acquired James Harden and all that. Like, none of that matters. None of that matters. Results matter. And wins and losses matter. And so the Warriors have been hell-bent, I think, at being pretty defiant in telling the world that they still view themselves as NBA championship contenders, and they still believe that this team can get on a run toward the top of the Western Conference, despite at different points feeling like they're a powder keg about to explode. And that's not just Draymond Green. Like, that's Klay Thompson has felt that way. So to see Klay Thompson come out and play a very relaxed, calm, efficient game, I think that bodes well. But the other thing that we're finding out here as far as this Warriors team goes is one night doesn't necessarily lead to the next. Like every night are they building some kind of momentum? Is this going to be the night they get on the big run? And we've seen that they haven't been able to do that. But again, I don't even really think it's about getting on the big run at this point. It's more about just stabilizing what has felt like there's stuff going on maybe behind the scenes, and you're wondering if everybody's on the same page. And, are people ticked off at Draymond for getting himself suspended for 5 games? Are people upset with Klay because of some pretty terrible shot selection at times and just the body language that we've seen a lot of the time on Klay Thompson when he hasn't played well? So he started to play well, and you just hope that everybody can get into a groove to where it doesn't have to be so game-to-game, night-to-night. Well, Klay played great tonight. Is he back? And then the next night it's, Klay took some terrible shots. He's all, look at the bad body language. Moody needs to play over him and all of these different things. Like the Warriors need to find steady and find stability at this point in the season. And I think that sort of calmness is what can set up. The run always comes when you're not expecting it. The run comes from a win like tonight or a couple of wins in a row that turn into something big. Like, the big runs always start kind of unassumingly. And so, again, I'm not saying this team's about to get on one of those runs. They do get the Clippers coming up again on Saturday afternoon, and then they get a few more days off to be able to kind of work through things and try and get healthy. The news was good as far as GP2 goes before this ball game. Steve Kerr saying that there was an MRI done on Gary Payton II, and the MRI revealed the calf injury, a strained calf, but none of this calf tear and lengthy time missed. Now, he's going to be out at least a week and probably a couple of weeks, because anytime there's a reevaluation date, reevaluating in a week is basically, that means, well, that's the starting point toward some kind of a return. So there was, but still good news because it was reported yesterday it might be months for Gary, or a significant amount of time. I don't want to put words in Shams Charania's mouth from The Athletic and Stadium and all of that. But good news on that front, because it seemed like GP2 was going to be out for quite some time, and now it seems like it's a little bit more of a shorter thing. But opportunities for others to step up and step in, and they did that. I thought that Klay Thompson run was probably the biggest run of the fourth quarter, and it was when he was out there with Corey Joseph, Brandon Pajemski, Jonathan Kuminga, and for a short time, Dario Saric before a move was made. And those guys had the answers tonight. Brandon Pajemski hit a big, driving flip shot. Jonathan Kuminga hit a couple of big three-point shots in points where there was a little bit of trouble. At points where you thought, maybe the Clippers are going to come and run the Warriors down, and this is going to wind up being a tie game down the stretch. And then it's going to be, can the Warriors execute against a team that really has a lot more talented players than their record? I mean, you talk about a couple of teams that believe they should be better than their record. I mean, the Clippers are looking around with James Harden and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and they're thinking, how the heck are we 8-9 coming into this game and 8-10 walking out of there? But again, baby step for the Warriors in one of these seasons to this point since the 6-2 start that's felt like they just can't get any momentum or flow or anything to it. So 808-KNBR, 808-KNBR, the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here. It's Dubs OT with JD. New show here. Stoked to be here. Again, a little bit of background for those that don't know. I've covered the Warriors since 2011. I'll never forget. First press conference I covered, Jerry West was being introduced. The Warriors had plucked Jerry West away. And he was coming in, and shortly after that, it was they hired Mark Jackson, and then they drafted Klay Thompson, and then the first season in the Bay where I was covering the Warriors on a full-time basis, it was Steph or Monte. You gonna pay Steph? What kind of player is Steph gonna be? Steph or Monte? They ended up trading Monte Ellis for Andrew Bogut. They tanked the hell out of that season. Ended up getting Harrison Barnes in the draft. All of a sudden, Klay Thompson's a pretty damn good two-guard, and Stephen Curry ends up exploding a couple years later into one of the all-time greats in the history of the game. And so I've been around for all of it. And just covering this team, doing shows, talking about them, and I'm just could not be any more thrilled to be here on The Sports Leader, talking Dubs, and it's something we're going to be doing after every single game beginning tonight. And just I couldn't be more happy about it. And I know the fan base just passionate and loves this team and loves Steph Curry. He is on the Mount Rushmore of Bay Area athletes and has left just a mark that it will never go. He is going to be maybe the most beloved Bay Area athlete of all time, if he isn't already. I think we can have a conversation. We will be having a conversation, not for tonight, of course, but as his career winds down a little bit, I think that's going to be something. So, again, the fan base is passionate. There are some that think the Warriors are doing everything they can to get back to being a championship contending team. I think there's others that think, hey, the veterans might need to be checked a little bit when you're talking about Klay Thompson on a bad night. I thought it really just fascinating when you looked at Steve Kerr before the game again tonight, going in on the fact that he blew it in Sacramento by not having Moses Moody in the game. And he even went as far as to say, and I know he echoed what he said here yesterday with Tolbert and Copes, just the fact that, hey, Klay Thompson could have taken a seat, could have gone small, could have had different options. And I think there's been this cloak of an unwillingness to do that because you're afraid that you're going to offend or tick off or lose maybe a veteran player. And I think, finding that balance is one way to get through this season if you're the Warriors. But here's the other way you get through it. Klay Thompson just plays better. And Moses Moody gets his opportunities, and he plays well, and he fills in the gaps when he's called upon, and everything rolls great. But the bottom line is the Warriors, and you can look at this team, and tonight's another example. tonight's another example. And I know when you go through the Warriors roster, Kuminga, I think to this point overall this season has probably been a little bit disappointing. He was awesome tonight. I think tonight you could make the case with Jonathan Kuminga's best game. 23 minutes, 6 of 8, plus 13. It was really the bench for the Warriors in this one that led them to the victory. It was the bench. It was Klay Thompson, the only starter that was a plus in this game, and he was the guy that was out there a lot with the bench guys. Saric, plus 15. Jonathan Kuminga, plus 13. Podziemski, plus 12. Corey Joseph, plus 12. It was those guys that were everything the Warriors needed and have been everything that the Warriors have needed throughout the course of the season to this point. When you start looking at, why are the Warriors not where they really need to be? It's been the starters not carrying their weight. It's been the veterans, aside from Steph Curry, of course, who's been playing out of this world basketball for the most part. But it's been Wiggins, who's showed some signs. It's been Klay Thompson, who showed some signs. It's been Draymond going nuts with the ejections and the technicals and the suspensions and all of those things. So it becomes this question of, do you tap out on the veterans versus hold steady and believe that Wiggins and Klay are going to play better and Draymond's going to get everything else under control? And I think that's the game that the Warriors are playing right now. But they also have to go out and win games on a night-in, night-out basis. Otherwise, none of it's going to matter. So 808 KNBR is the number. Let's get to the phones. And Bruce in San Jose next here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce. Hey, John. I'm glad you're back on in this market. I'm just glad you didn't leave. And so I'm just hopeful that Draymond can, stick to his word. We need him, right? We don't want him ejected. We don't missing games. But yeah, I'm just glad you're still in the market.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. So am I. I mean, no. Thanks for the call, man. And I'm with you on Draymond 100%. It's a matter of, here's the thing with Draymond, Bruce. Draymond knows he's one of those guys that he knows when he makes the mistake because he is one of the most intelligent and thoughtful people of himself. Like, he's the guy, and we all know that friend that will do something that's just the worst thing imaginable, right, in a particular moment, or just make a jerk out of everybody, and then he'll be like, oh, man, I can't believe I did. I can't believe I can't do that. But then he does it. But then he does it again.
Exactly. And then like the financial, when you see how much money he's missing out on, it's just like, I guess they have that much millions, but it's hopefully it's a deterrent. At some point. Yeah,
at some point, although he got a nice, 4-year deal. Anyway, Bruce, thanks for the call, man. Yeah. I got to run a little bit, and thank you for the kind words. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Don't make that your last call here on these. No,
for sure.
On the Sports Leader. Thanks a lot to Bruce in San Jose checking in. But no, we all know that friend. But look, the Warriors have doubled and tripled down. I mean, I go back, and I've said this a lot. I go back to being in L.A. when the Warriors they were eliminated by the Lakers in the Western Conference semifinals. And in that moment, because they were dismantled and looked beaten up and broken and down and all of those things, you wondered what was going to come out. You figured something was going to drop, and it was immediate reports that they wanted to keep the band together. They wanted Bob Myers back. They wanted Steve Kerr back. They wanted Klay back. They wanted Draymond back. Like, everybody was coming back. And Steph was at the podium down there at Crypto.com, used to be Staples Center Arena, and said, we're running it back. This team's good enough. And so that told you everything you needed to know. And I understand the fans that get frustrated with the notion of feeling like management or somebody has to come in and say, hey, we need to do it differently or whatever. Steph Curry wants this. And so, when things go bad and you're wondering how it's all going to shake out and could the whole thing be a powder keg that's about to explode, for one night you calm that down. Now, you go to L.A. on Saturday afternoon and you lose that game, and all of a sudden we're having the same conversation probably at about 3:30 here on Saturday afternoon that we were having after the Sacramento game, or we were having after maybe they lost the game to Oklahoma City when Chet Holmgren hits the three and forces overtime in a game that the Warriors absolutely should have won. So we're having that conversation at that point. But it's every win calms it down, but every loss right now still brings it back. So it's fragile. And I'll tell you, I was having some conversations. I was over at Chase pregame and for a good chunk of the game before coming back here to the studio, and it feels really fragile. And to the point where night in, night out, you're kind of wondering what the hell's gonna, like, what could jump off? Like, is Clay gonna be? But none of it happened tonight. And it didn't happen tonight because they came out and they jumped out to a 31-24 lead. And for the most part, they cruised, leading by as many as 18. And every time it got down to 6 or 7, the Warriors had an answer, and it was all good from there. So 808 KNBR, 808 KNBR. It is Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader.
Live from downtown.
Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
This is Dubs OT with John Dickinson on the Sports Leader. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Krzyzewski breaks the paint. Bang a jumper. And rimmed it home. They got 17 off the bench.
He found an opening in there. That's what happens when you're moving without the ball. Well, look at
Offensive foul! Krzyzewski! He got the beard!
Just stay in his jersey. Be a pest. The beard can't stand it. Just pick up full court. He didn't expect him to, and just went straight into his chest.
Yeah, this is not a basketball move. What's that?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Pajemski, the 19th pick out of Santa Clara.
Yeah, and Brandon Pajemski getting his opportunity tonight and making the most of it. 13 points, but doing other things. The rebounding will translate. That's what we were told from the college game to the NBA game, and Brandon Pajemski did that tonight. 13 and 8 for the guard from Santa Clara. We welcome you back here on The Sports Leader. Dubs OT with JD. 808 KNBR is the phone number. It's 808 KNBR to give me a call or shoot me a text. Warriors win tonight, 120-114. So Golden State, they get the win. They get back closer to that 500 mark, but still very much in the glut of a Western Conference that I think is pretty talented compared to last year even. And I know I thought last year's Western Conference was pretty mediocre. I really did. I think this year's Western Conference is significantly better. I think there are better teams top to bottom in the Western Conference, and I think the Warriors, when they're healthy, again, when healthy. That's the whole thing. Warriors when healthy. You always have to kind of add that, but you want to whisper it because I think Warrior fans don't want to do anything that's going to jinx anything. People were going nuts. Andrew Wiggins slams his finger in a car door. Like, what more could go? Like, Draymond's running off, picking up technicals, changing the game of the momentum in Sacramento. Klay Thompson's stomping off the court, probably should have been benched. Steve Kerr's like, a terrible coaching job. He's waking up his wife in the middle of the night because he's upset about not giving Moses Moody run in the fourth quarter of a game, saying he should have benched Klay Thompson, basically, at least for a few minutes. He said it in a pretty nice way. We're going to hear from Steph Curry coming up here, as well as Steve Kerr here on The Sports Leader as the Warriors get the win by 6. But no, I think the Western Conference is better. Like, I think you just look through, Minnesota's better than they were last year. They're off to a 14-4 start. Denver's getting Jamal Murray back into the fold here, and they're still 13. They're defending champs, so it all runs through Denver as far as I'm concerned until further notice. Like, that's just the way it is. And then OKC's better, right? That's a play-in tournament team from a year ago. They are a 12-6 team. Dallas tanked. Dallas was like, we don't even want this. Dallas was like, we don't have to play-in tournament. Get out of here. Play-in tournament. Come on. Dallas is 11-6. They don't have that attitude this year. Phoenix is 11-7. Sacramento's 10-7, but they're just kind of finding their way. Like, the Kings are going to win a lot of games. Kings are going to win a lot of games, not even play well. Like, the Kings beat the Warriors there and didn't even play well. I mean, that's and just made a few threes. Warriors, a couple turnovers. The Kings are going to win a lot of games. I think they are probably. I don't know if the Kings are going to win as many games as they did last year. They might. I mean, I definitely wouldn't put it past them. But they're a different team than they were a year ago. But I still think, even if they're not better, they're still going to be better than that glut of 4, 5, 6, 7 last year. So the Kings may not be the team that they were, but they're going to be better than that glut. Anyway, Lakers, better. Pelicans with Zion, better. Rockets are better. Now, Clippers, well, we'll see. Clippers should be better, but they're not. And the Warriors taking advantage of that in this one tonight. But then you've got the Warriors who are 9-10. So it's like all these teams I mentioned, I think I just mentioned 9 teams that are all better, which means the Warriors are going to have to be better. And I've said this, I just think the Warriors missed opportunity after the 6-2 start, and now they're trying to fight back, and now they're trying to claw back into this thing and get on a little bit of a run. But while they're also trying to not have the whole thing explode on them. 808 KNBR is the number. 808 KNBR. All right, let's go ahead and hear a little bit from Steve Kerr. A couple of cuts here. We talked about Klay Thompson's impact on this game, and Steve Kerr addressed that very thing.
Yeah. Well, he's playing with that second group. Routinely we take him out early in the game and then bring him back so that he can help anchor the bench unit. What I loved about Klay's game tonight is that he stayed patient through the missed shots. He had a lot of open shots that he missed early, and he didn't hang his head. He kept the energy defensively. stayed with it, and I felt like the game rewarded him during that flurry early in the fourth. I think he scored 10 or 12 straight points, and so that's what we need from him. And Draymond set a great tone, and I thought, but the story of the game was really the bench. Brandon, Dario, Corey, J.K. They were fantastic, and really controlled all their minutes while they were out there. It was fun to watch.
So fun to watch. And the bench has not been the issue. And even though you can look at collectively, each player, I don't think there's been really anybody on the bench for the Warriors that's been spectacular. Like, if you just look at, and you can play along in your head and just run through everybody, from Saric to Kuminga to Chris Paul, it's all been kind of up and down, right? It's all been like, but collectively, they've outscored their opponents in just about every game on the season, and that's impressive. And the Warriors have needed it, and they've been able to fill the gaps in an appropriate manner. And so I think that was really important for the Warriors to be able to do that. And so they did it tonight, 44-31. The Warriors outscored the Clippers bench, and the Clippers are, like a lot of teams, a pretty top-heavy team. But when you're digging deeper into that bench, it gets harder to expect the same kind of production. But that's where you definitely have to give a nod to Jonathan Kuminga and Podziemski, who got an opportunity, earned an opportunity, deserved an opportunity. And then, he got a few games run there after he had the 23-point game against Minnesota. And then he kind of played his way out of the rotation. It's so funny how things work. You've got Steve Kerr on one night saying, hey, some guys are going to be upset because I'm trimming the rotation down. And, unfortunately, Podziemski's probably one of them. Moses Moody's probably one of them. And then you look up the next game, and all these guys are really contributing. And Moody was playing awesome in Sacramento. And so, the Warriors, you need those. Even if guys are going to be out of the rotation, you're going to need them at some point. And tonight was a night where you needed them, and they delivered huge in this one. And Klay Thompson being able to, it's always going to come down to patience, because I've said this a lot. The Warriors can win with Klay Thompson being steady. He didn't have to be 11 of 20 from three every night. He didn't have to make 7 threes every night for the Warriors to win. He really doesn't. But what he has to do is not make bad plays or take bad shots or chase misses. And I think that's what Klay Thompson does a lot. I think he chases misses. He misses one sometimes, and then he needs to take 2 and make 2 to get back, to feeling like he's being productive. And then if he misses 4 or 5, it's like, oh God, like, oh, he missed 4 or 5. And then he's all mad, he's scowling. Like, it's not the carefree Klay Thompson that everybody grew to know and love over the course of his career. So I think he really has to battle himself in a lot of these games. I think Klay has to just know, it's laid back as he is a thinker. I think he does get in his own head sometimes. So it's always patience. It's always, don't let a couple of misses turn into a couple of bad shots, because then those are misses, and all of a sudden you're 0 for 2, which could be a 2 for 4 or 2 for 5, turns into a 1 for 7. And the Warriors basically can't win when Klay Thompson is 5 of 18. 5 of 18 you can't win with. 8 of 18 you can win with. And 22 points, and again, that's 4 of the last 5 that are 20-plus from Klay, and the Warriors have been rolling a little bit, and because of that. Playing better, at least in position to win a lot of these games because of that, even though they've had some close calls that they haven't been able to finish. All right, Dubs OT with JD, 808 KNBR. New show. Again, I could not be more thrilled to be here and going to be here after each and every Warriors game. Just absolutely fantastic opportunity to speak with on a night-in, night-out basis. One of the most, with just the most passionate fan base in sports. The Bay Area in general, whether it's the Niners or the Giants or the Warriors, but I think in particular the Warriors based on the way that they've played over the last decade and just the mark that they've left on the Bay and the mark that they've left on a fan base that really up until that point had been pretty tortured. Pretty tortured. And if you weren't tortured, your dad was tortured And if your dad wasn't tortured, your grandpa was tortured. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you weren't young enough to remember the torture of, and again, we're not talking about Giants torture. We're talking about like actual bad torture. We're not talking about, torture, won the World Series. Like, no, we're talking torture like 17 wins out of 82. We're talking, torture, 19-63. Torture. Yeah, well, Charles Sprewell choked the coach. Got suspended. Like, that's the kind of torture we're talking about. Like, so the Warriors everybody should feel good for Warrior fans. Like, given that era, and you really don't have to be that old to remember that. Like, you're not, but it's a fan base that's extremely passionate and loyal and wants to see this thing finish right because of how legendary these guys have been. And so, yeah, I couldn't be more thrilled to be here on KNBR, the sports leader, and going to be doing this after every Warriors game, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're doing it tonight, getting things tipped off, and we're going to be doing it Saturday, and we're going to be doing it next week when the Warriors are home to take on the Blazers. And it's going to be a blast. And so, for those of you that are, just tuning in or popping up YouTube and Twitch and, checking me out in the studio, like, just couldn't be more happy to be here and have this thing off and running with a big Warriors win at 120-114 over at Chase tonight. 808 KNBR. Let's go ahead and hear from Steph Curry because he addressed it, and it was, I think, the most important thing. And I'm just put it out there. I was worried. I was flat out worried about tonight off of the way that they got beat in Sacramento. Well, Steph Curry addressed that.
I mean, it was huge because it's the next game. That's how the NBA is built. Obviously, it was a disappointing loss, but the worst thing you could do is not learn the lesson and just dwell on it and not turn the page and protect our home court, get a win, try to carry some momentum down to LA on Saturday.
Yeah, and carry the momentum is what it's all about. And the Warriors were able to do that. And just to me, you got to wipe when you got a loss like that, you don't want it to fester. You don't want it to become 2. You don't want it to become 3. And for the Warriors to do that tonight, I think it's impressive. It's necessary. It's price of admission at this point. I think for the Warriors. All right, let's go ahead and hear a little bit of Steve Kerr as well. And again, we do have lines open, 808 KNBR, text line, and a couple of phone lines. We're going to keep this thing rolling here to 11 o'clock on the Sports Leader. But yeah, let's go ahead and hear a little bit more of Steve Kerr as we had the cut earlier about Clay and the bench. Steve Kerr talked a little bit more about Clay and just where his game is at right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he's out there with that group to give them a score. But as I said, it felt like the game rewarded him for just continuing to fight and not worrying about anything. He kept shooting, and the ball kind of bounced his way. But that's the Clay that I expect really the rest of the year. I mean, I thought he was great in Sacramento the other night. As long as he's patient and doesn't beat himself up, and just stays with it and brings the energy defensively, then he's a great player.
He's a great player, and again, it's not rocket science. It's just chill. Quit worrying about the contract. Quit worrying about being frustrated. Just know that Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Steve Kerr believe in him, and it's the only way out. Like the Warriors have lost some games and they've been a little banged up and all hell is kind of broken loose in some ways for them over this November. But the only way you pull yourself out of it is to just continue to grind through. And the only way the Warriors are going to pull themselves out of it, because here's the thing. They've played so poorly that we've started to have these conversations about, well, should the young players, do they need to make a trade? And do the young players need to start playing more? And if the young players are going to start playing more than the veteran, like how the veteran's going to receive it? And it goes down that, can Draymond be trusted? It's all the little things that you hear when a team gets on a losing streak. But here's the problem. The problem is this team's not going to be anything if Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green don't lead them there. That's it. If it's not Steph, Clay, and Draymond, all playing well, then this team's got no shot. It almost doesn't matter what the heck happens with the bench, which has been surprisingly pretty darn good to this point this season. Like, the bench has been a lot better than I thought they were, or than I thought they could be to this point this season. And again, the way that they've done it, as I laid out earlier, has been a big part of the reason why. Like, I didn't, on a night in, night out basis, it doesn't seem like anybody off the bench is particularly stellar consistently, but it's kind of a different guy every night. And you look up and they've got their numbers collectively, even if the individual numbers maybe aren't exactly what you're looking for. Let's sneak in a call here. 808 KNBR. Let's go to Brad. Brad was at the game over at Chase tonight. What's going on, Brad? You're on the Sports Leader.
Hey, JD, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, my friend.
All right, here with my daughter Allison. Just came home from the game.
Awesome.
Hi.
Hi, Allison.
We're undefeated.
Hi.
Undefeated this year, and I actually thought about not going today after the Sacramento game. But we said, hey, no, we're all in. So what a great win, and like you talked about, the reserves just stepped up. But JD, welcome to the leader. This is one of the best acquisitions KNBR has made. I knew something was going to happen. You were honest. You were just to the point, and I'm saying thanks for being so honest and straightforward about the Warriors and their challenges. But great job, and so welcome to KNBR, and great win for the Warriors.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it. Really, thanks for the call. And again, I couldn't be more happy to be here. Could not be more happy to be here. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And what this show is going to be all about is Warriors fans reacting in real time, win or lose, because it's going to be a wild ride. It just is. It is going to be a wild ride all season long. We've already seen it with the 6-2 start. It's been a roller coaster. 6-2 start. Then they're under 500. Draymond suspended. Clay's ticked off. Steph Curry's wondering if he can trust these dudes anymore. Steve Kerr's waking up in the middle of the night, sleepless. Like this season to this point, been some bonkers games. I mean, they're just from the Minnesota game with a fight to a couple of games against OKC, the game in Sacramento. And we're just getting started. Not even quite at the quarter pole to this point. So 808 KNBR. Got a couple of lines open. 808 KNBR text line open as well. We'll pause here as it is Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Dub Nation, this is the real and inside story on Warriors basketball. Dubs OT with John Dickinson continues. Streaming live at twitch.tv/thesportsleader.
Oh man, we're all three different, but we love the game of basketball. So we vibe on the competitiveness and the will to win over the years. Draymond said, I think in our sit down a couple years ago, like we've never asked any of us to change who we are. We've obviously evolved and grown over the years, but we all have a place. We complement each other so well on the court, off the court. We're all unique, so it meshed. We felt it from jump, but like Draymond said, be blessed to be 12 years in, all three of us together. Like that's special. That's history right there.
It is history, and today was the great Raymond Ritter, the Warriors PR maven, with the it's 11/30/23 day. 11/30/23, November 30th, 2023. That's what? Clay, Steph, and Draymond. And there was a wonderful mural-like backdrop for the Steve Kerr pregame press conference tonight. As we welcome you back here, Dubs OT with JD, John Dickinson, our tip-off show here, 808 KNBR on The Sports Leader. Pleasure to be here. But, a little fun with numbers. 11/30/23. So you got... It's basically, Clay, Steph, Dre day. And they all contributed in a positive manner. You got Steph with his solid 26, although missed a couple free throws. That's unusual. Steph Curry, 7 of 9 at the free throw line. Klay Thompson, 22. Moses Moody, solid in the... Moses Moody, we always get into this debate about the young guys and should they play more or should they not. Moses Moody just needs to play. Moses Moody shouldn't be part of that conversation. Podziemski might be here and there. I think Kuminga up and down. He was great tonight. He was pretty bad against Sacramento. It seems like he's always pretty bad against Sacramento. Played his way completely off the floor against the Kings in the playoffs. But Moses Moody is so steady. To me, he's earned his way past go. If you're playing Monopoly, you can collect $200 and all that. Moses Moody's just solid, man. He just and here's the definition of why I think Moses Moody can just play any night. And I think, to be honest, this is what works against Moses. Sometimes when you're just solid, you get taken advantage of to the point where it's we just won't use you because you're solid and you're cool with it and you got a great attitude. And it's who really wants solid? Most of the time people want awesome, right? But Moses Moody's bad games are solid. And that, to me, is what makes him playable above some of the other more high variant younger players on the Warriors roster. Moses Moody could go out there and be terrible and go 0 for 3, but he isn't going to kill you when he does that. And the Warriors have so few players on their roster to where when they play badly, it doesn't kill you. But tonight he was really good, and he fits, and you can play him at the 3. Or was he at the 2 tonight and Klay Thompson was at the 3? However you want to do it. I think you can play him at the 3. And it's all good. And he did it against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and Terrence Mann's out there and James Harden's out there. He fit in fine in that starting lineup with that group and pitched in 13 points, and the Warriors needed all of it as they get the win. 808 KNBR. 808 KNBR is the phone number to participate in the program via text, via the phone lines as well. Got some notes to get to here from the Warriors' 120-114 victory over the Clippers. These two teams are going to go at it again in Los Angeles on Saturday afternoon, and we're going to be back on with you right here on the Sports Leader after that one and after each and every game. So looking forward to it. Again, John Dickinson with you, and this is our tip-off show here for the Dubs OT with JD, and just couldn't be more thrilled to be here and a part of it. Let's go ahead and quickly hear Steve Kerr. We talked a lot about Kuminga, and I think you could make the case this was Kuminga's most impactful game of the year with the 17 points in 23 minutes and doing it efficiently. But guess what? Steve Kerr didn't want to talk about the offense. Here's what Steve Kerr said.
It was great. He didn't foul, not one foul. And he's out there guarding Kawhi and Paul George, and really tough matchups, and used his athleticism. Had 5 rebounds in the first half, dove to the rim, and then took the three when it was there. The game just felt really clean to me for JK. Like he kept it simple, and that's what we've been harping on. And very happy for him because JK's a great young guy. He wants this so bad, but he gets frustrated at times, like a lot of young players. And things haven't gone his way lately, and he really stayed with it. So the approach paid off, and I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, it's keep it simple on offense, but really that cut wasn't about offense at all. That cut was about playing strong defense against some tough matchups, some wing players that are dudes in this league, in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And so Kuminga, again, kept it simple. And that really is when he's at his best. Kuminga's at his best when he's not trying to cook. Kuminga's at his best where he's diving to the rim on offense and he's taking corner threes, and basically every shot he takes is a byproduct of the Warriors' offense. Like, that's when Kuminga's at his best, and he's hustling around playing defense. He's a better on-ball defender. He's a much better on-ball defender than he is a help defender or a team defender. He does get burned in team defense pretty regularly. Kind of falls asleep at times. But on-ball defense against guys that want to play one-on-one, he's right there and ready for it. And to be perfectly honest, I mean, Jonathan Kuminga, if he's going to succeed in this league, he needs to be able to check Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and be able to go toe-to-toe with them and hold your own. And he was able to do that. So, it's the little things for Kuminga. I think everybody with JK views it as the bright future and the high ceiling and all of that. And it really isn't about that at all for Jonathan Kuminga. It's really about, can he be a role player on this team? Can he be a role player on this team to help them win and contend for an NBA championship? And tonight, I think, was a template for Jonathan Kuminga. I think tonight was the template for how it should look for JK to be able to be a complete bench player that can help this team win a lot of games. 808 KNBR. 808 KNBR. Final couple of minutes here. It's John Dickinson as the Warriors get the win. 120-114. They're playing better at home, Golden State. We'll hear a little bit more Steve Kerr coming up in just a moment. 3 in a row now at home for the Warriors. That's a necessity after the awful start, 1-6 to begin the year, and the 1-5 homestand, and just what the heck's going on? Like, they went on the road, they can't win at home. Now they're winning at home. They're not quite winning on the road like they were at the beginning. So it all adds up basically to even, with the Warriors now 9-10 on the season. But yeah, 9-10 overall. Warriors have been pretty good against the Clippers of late, as they've now won the last 6 games in the Bay Area against the Clippers. So they've had a little bit of ownage there. And the Warriors moving the ball around. 30 assists, and we had the caller that pointed it out earlier. The Warriors, not a lot of ball pressure in this game, but yeah, 9 turnovers. 9 turnovers in the game, so under 10. Anytime you go 30 assists and 9 turnovers, that's spectacular. And you're going to win, and I think some of that is a testament to the Warriors being able to take care of the ball. I think it's also a little bit of a statement to the Clippers that they really aren't playing a lot of challenging defense. I mean, the Clippers have some dudes where they should be better defensively. You got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. You should be better defensively than we saw tonight. The Warriors were really freaking comfortable out there on the floor. But, yeah, moving the rock, running the offense, not turning it over, and the Warriors get the victory by 6. But it's the 6th time this season that the Warriors have had 30 or more assists. Warriors also hit the 50% mark shooting tonight. Golden State now 4-0 in the season when they shoot at least 50% from the field and have 30 assists. So they get the 30 assists and they shoot it well. And a lot of times you're shooting it well because you're getting, those two things go hand in hand. You get 30 assists, you better be making some shots. You're going to be in trouble. And the Warriors did that tonight. And so when the Warriors have that balance, they're almost unbeatable. Warriors next up again will play the Clippers in Los Angeles, and then back home to take on Portland, and then they will be in Oklahoma City. A couple of those makeup games for not being in the in-season tournament, quarterfinal, round of 8. No chance to go to Vegas for the Warriors, but they do get a trip to Oklahoma City. next week. They do get an extra trip to Oklahoma City. So, actually, I joke about it, but that was one of the best games of the young NBA season when the Warriors played in Oklahoma City back at the beginning of November when things were looking a lot better, and the Warriors wound up winning that game. Man, spectacular game on that night. So, yeah, Warriors get the win. Couple other just quick notes here, and then we'll hear a little bit more from Steve Kerr. Brandon Podziemski, we talked about the 8 rebounds. That's a career-high tying 8 rebounds for Podziemski. So that's 3 times this year he's had 8 rebounds. So his rebounding does translate from the college game to the NBA game, with Podziemski having the 13 and 8 night. And let's hear from Steve Kerr on Podziemski and just his overall attitude.
Brandon's just a winner. I mean, he makes plays out there. He makes every kind of little play that you may or may not notice, deflections and boxing out. And, he made a really good kind of double switch on their last time out when they tried to run their play. Brandon blew it up. So he's going to be on the floor late game for us, the way he recognizes stuff. If we need to keep a team from getting a 3, I got Brandon on the floor now because he sees all that stuff and he anticipates. And he's also fearless. He just attacks. He wants to be out there and not afraid of anything.
No, not afraid of anything. That was apparent from the summer league, really, was just the fact that he's got a lot of confidence in his game, and I think at times in the summer league it looked a little erratic. It looked a little like, is this guy going to be able to score at an NBA level? But he really, I think, polished his game in the time between the summer and training camp and looked pretty good in training camp and honestly in the preseason, to the point where Steve Kerr said, hey, he's probably not going to play at the beginning because of the rotation and all the veterans, and basically the top 10 is pretty much set for the Warriors when everybody's healthy. But Steve Kerr was very quick to point out the fact that he would have no problem playing Podziemski even then, and Podziemski has stepped in and really helped this team at different points, including that Minnesota game that they almost won on the night of the melee at Chase Center with Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels and Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert. And that was really the coming out party for Podziemski, and where he showed that he can score at the NBA level and he can make some 3-point shots and he can be somebody that's productive, even at a young age. And even he's grown up fast, I think, Brandon Podziemski has, and the Warriors have absolutely really needed it because, again, this team, they know they're top 10 when they're healthy. They know who their 11 and who their 12 are going to be. And Brandon Podziemski is probably in that 11-12 role at this point. But with the amount of injuries and in and out that the Warriors are going to have, that every team has through the course of an NBA season, you're going to get a shot if you're Brandon Podziemski. And tonight was a night where it looked like, all right, maybe he wasn't going to be playing a little bit, but he gets his shot and he comes up big and helps the Warriors to get this win that they very much needed over the Clippers, 120-114. Just wipe the bad taste out of your mouth from Tuesday night in Sacramento, because that was, I know Steve Kerr says, you get a couple of one of those every year. Like last year was that game in Utah in December where the Warriors were up 4 with like 13 seconds left and ended up losing the game on a layup at the buzzer. One of those a year. That game in Sacramento stung. The way the Warriors reacted to that game in Sacramento stung. So to be able to come back and wipe the bad taste out, and even though you're not back to 500 and you're still 10th in the West and you're almost at the quarter pole, and I think you could make the case that it's the beginning of this year's been disappointing. As 6-2 was nice, but this team right now with the record that they have at 1 under 500, almost at the quarter point of the season, that's a disappointment. So they got a lot of work to do, but I always say this, and it's the obvious point. Every game you dip below 500 is 2 games you got to win just to get back to 500. And so you don't want to get too far separated from it, because then it becomes a long, steep climb. And I think the Warriors played that game last year all the way to the final 5-6 games of the season, and it wound up biting them. So that not being the case for very much longer this season, I think would be huge for the Warriors. All right, that's going to do it. First show in the books. Just like that. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Greg Silver. Excellent job. I want to thank Copes. for coming in tonight and just making sure. Yeah, Overnight Dave. Got to thank Overnight Dave. And anybody else, Greg, I forgot because I'm just learning everybody's name. Cole was just the master on the cuts tonight, cutting up the highlights, cutting up the post-game press conferences. Appreciate the help of one and all. I'm going to be back on Saturday. We're going to do this again Saturday right after the Warriors and the Clippers here on the Sports Leader. That game's going to tip at 1, so we're going to be on about 3:30. Be on about 3:30. But right when the final buzzer hits, we're going live. And we're going live on YouTube and Twitch, and we're going live right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader. So appreciate the help of one and all. I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to be sitting in for John Lund with Greg Papa from 10 to 2. And so I'm really looking forward to reuniting with my old pal Greg Papa right here on the Sports Leader. So we'll talk to you tomorrow at 10. Keep it locked right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
John Dickinson, super reporter, big game bound, his boots on the ground. John Dickinson, super reporter, where will he be now? Let's go out to JD.
We're going to be championship.